The Aura station floated in the cold dark of space, far beyond the reach of any known star system. It was quiet, too quiet for a place that had watched over Earth for centuries. Inside the command center, lights flickered across control panels. As data streamed in from deep space satellites, Commander Vera stood near the main screen, her long fingers tapping against her side. She was tall and thin, with silver skin that shimmered under the dim station lights. Her eyes, sharp and golden, scanned the latest reports. "Something is wrong," she said, voice low. Beside her, a short, round alien named Telik adjusted his thick glasses. "What do you mean?" he asked nervously. "Everything looks normal." "No," Vera replied. "Earth has gone silent." Telik blinked. "Silent? You mean like no signals?" "Exactly," Vera said. "No radio waves. No satellite activity. No internet traffic. Nothing." A third figure stepped forward. High Counselor Rethon, leader of the Galactic Concord, looked at the two with calm but serious eyes. His voice was deep, slow, like thunder rolling across the sky. "You are sure about this?" he asked. "I triple-checked," Vera said. "There's not even background noise. It's like someone just turned them off." Rethon turned to the others gathered in the room, representatives from dozens of alien species. Some floated, some crawled, some stood on four legs. All were watching, waiting. "The time has come," Rethon said. "We must decide what to do with Earth." A murmur passed through the crowd. Some whispered in excitement. Others shifted uncomfortably. "They've been growing fast." One creature growled. "Too fast. They built cities that touch the clouds." Another added, "They send machines into the stars. They speak in many voices, yet they fight among themselves." "They are dangerous," said a being covered in black armor, "and unpredictable. But they have heart," Vera said. "I have seen it. They dream, they create, they try to be better than they are." Raythan raised a hand. "Enough." The room fell silent. "For centuries we have watched," Raythan said. "We saw them crawl out of mud and rise into the sky. We saw them destroy and rebuild. We saw them hurt each other and help each other." He took a breath. "We debated whether they were ready to join us, whether they could be trusted with the knowledge of the stars." Vera stepped forward. "And now Earth is silent. Something happened down there." "Maybe they destroyed themselves," said a reptilian observer. "It happens, maybe," Vera agreed. "Or maybe something else happened." Raythan looked at her. "You think they're hiding?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But I want to find out." There was a pause. Then Raythan spoke again. "We will not interfere." Gasps filled the room. "What?" Vera asked. "We will not make contact," Raythan said firmly. "Not now, not ever." But Vera started. "It is decided," Raythan said. "Earth remains isolated. No ships, no messages, no observation drones." The room buzzed with surprise. "This is a mistake," Vera said. "No," Raythan said. "This is protection for all of us." She stared at him. "You're afraid of them?" "No," he said. "I am afraid for them." Vera clenched her jaw. "And if they need help, they won't get it," Raythan said. "Let them rot in ignorance." On Earth, life continued. In New York, a boy named Leo sat on the roof of his apartment building, staring up at the stars. "Why can't we go there?" he asked his sister. "Because we don't have the tech," she said, scrolling through her phone. "But what if someone's out there?" Leo pressed. That his sister laughed. "Like aliens." Leo frowned. "Maybe. Down below, scientists worked late into the night." Dr. Alina Reyes checked her readings again and again. "Something's off," she muttered. Her assistant Mark leaned over. "What do you mean, these satellites?" she said. "They keep disappearing. Just gone. And the ones that come back, their data is corrupted, like someone wiped it clean." Mark shrugged. "Glitches happen." "No," Elena said. "This isn't random. Someone's doing this. Who? That's what I need to find out." She opened an old file labeled Project Starlight. Inside was a message dated decades ago. "We are not alone. But they do not wish to be found." Back on Aura Station, Vera stood alone in the observation deck. She watched the blue dot of Earth spin slowly in the distance. "Do you really believe this is the right choice?" she asked aloud. Dot from behind. Raythan appeared. "I do," he said. "They deserve a chance," Vera said. "They may be loud, messy and violent, but they also shine." Raythan sighed. "That's exactly why they must remain in the dark." Vera shook her head. "You're making a mistake." Raythan looked at her. "Maybe. But mistakes are easier to fix than war." Suddenly an alarm blared. All across the station. Red lights flashed. "Alert! Alert!" A computerized voice called. "Unidentified signal detected." Vera ran to the nearest console. "What is it?" Raythan asked. "It's coming from Earth," she said. "But it's different." "How?" "It's not just a signal," she said. "It's a message." Everyone rushed to the central screen. Text scrolled across in glowing letters. "We know you're out there. You're hidden in the stars. But we are listening now." The room went still. Then the message changed. "Don't ignore us any longer, or we will come to you." A final line appeared. "The silence is broken." The screen went blank. Vera turned to Raythan. "They found us." Raythan stared at the dark void of space. "No," he said quietly. "They found themselves." Weeks passed. On Earth, strange things began happening. Satellites stopped working. Planes lost communication. Deep-sea probes vanished without a trace. People online started asking questions. Is this a government experiment? Are we under attack? Did we finally make contact? Dr. Reyes worked day and night. She traced the interference to a point deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. There's something down there, she told her team. What kind of something? Mark asked. I don't know, she said, but it's big. Meanwhile, Leo kept looking at the stars. One night he saw a light flash across the sky. Not a plane, not a satellite. Something else. He pointed at it. Look, his sister glanced up. Probably a meteor. But Leo wasn't so sure. Later that night he got a strange message on his phone. It read, "You are not alone." Leo's heart pounded. He showed it to his sister. She rolled her eyes. Some prank, but Leo knew better. Something was changing above them. The stars seemed brighter, as if someone or something was finally paying attention. Back on Aura Station, Vera stared at the dark screen. They sent a message, she said. Should we respond? No, Rethon said. We made our choice. But what if they activate it? Tulloch whispered. Vera turned to him. Activate what? Tulloch swallowed hard. There's something buried on Earth. An ancient defense system, a weapon. Vera's eyes widened. What are you talking about? Rethon looked away. We placed it there, he said. Millions of years ago. Vera stepped back. You left a weapon. On Earth it was meant to protect them, Rethon said. From themselves. From us. But now, Tulloch stammered. If they find it, they might wake it up. Vera finished. Silence filled the room. Then Rethon spoke. We should never have ignored them. Vera looked at the distant planet. Earth glowed softly in the dark, but deep beneath its surface, something stirred, waiting, watching, ready to rise. The sky over Earth was clear and blue, but something deep beneath its surface had begun to change. In a quiet research station near the edge of Siberia, Dr. Elena Reyes stood in front of a massive screen filled with strange readings. Her team watched silently as numbers jumped and fell without reason. This doesn't make sense, she muttered, tapping at the keyboard. These energy spikes, they are coming from underground. Her assistant Mark frowned. Could it be a volcano? No, Elena said. It's too deep and it's moving. Mark asked, eyes wide. Elena nodded. Like something is waking up. Back on Aura Station, Vera paced in the command room. Her golden eyes were sharp with worry. They're getting closer, she said. They'll find it soon. Tulloch, the round alien with thick glasses, floated beside her. We should warn them, he whispered. We can't, Vera replied. Rethon made that clear. But if they wake it, Tulloch started. I know, Vera cut in, and we might not like what happens next. On Earth, Leo sat in his room, staring at his phone. He had seen more lights in the sky. More messages appeared on websites he didn't remember visiting. You are being watched. Something old is waking. Don't look away. Leo showed the screen to his sister again. This isn't a prank, he said. She took the phone, read the words, and frowned. Where did you see this? All over, Leo said. Even in places I didn't. His sister looked worried now. Maybe we should tell someone, who Leo asked. The government, they've been acting weird lately. He was right. Across the world, leaders were holding secret meetings. Scientists were disappearing. Military bases were going dark. What was happening? And no one knew what. Dr. Reyes' team arrived at the location where the energy spikes were strongest. It was deep in the Pacific Ocean, far below the waves. A small submarine dove into the darkness. Inside, Elena and two others scanned the seafloor. Then, the sonar pinged. What is that? One of the crew asked. Elena leaned forward. On the screen, a massive shape appeared, buried under layers of rock and sand. It's huge, she whispered. The submarine moved closer. Light shined through the dark water, and there it was, a structure, not natural, metal, smooth, ancient. Oh my God, Elena breathed. It's not ours. One of the crew turned pale. What? Do you mean this wasn't built by humans? She said. It's alien. They stared at the screen in silence. Then the lights on the submarine flickered. A low hum filled the cabin. Did you hear that? One of them asked, before anyone could answer. The screen went black. Came a voice. Not through the speakers. Not through the speakers downside their heads. You have found us, Elena gasped. The others clutched their heads in pain. Turn it off, one shouted. But nothing worked. The voice spoke again. We left you in peace. We gave you time. But now, you call to us. Suddenly, the lights came back on. The structure below them began to glow. Lines of light traced across its surface like veins, waking after millions of years. Then the ocean trembled. A shockwave pushed the submarine back. Elena stared in horror as the ancient machine began to rise. Back on land, alarms blared in the research center. Something just happened underwater. A technician shouted. Mark ran to the console. What kind of something? The screen showed a massive energy spike. Then footage from a satellite above the Pacific. A column of light shot up from the ocean. What the hell is that? Mark yelled. A voice crackled through a radio. We found something. Something big. Is it dangerous? Mark asked. There was a pause. Then Elena's voice, barely a whisper. I don't think it wants to stay hidden anymore. On Aura Station, Vera watched the signal come through. The energy reading is off the charts, she said. Tulloch hovered nervously. They woke it. Vera's face was pale. No, they didn't wake it. She looked at Rethon. It woke. Itself. Rethon's jaw tightened. Then our mistake has consequences. Tulloch shook. What do we do? Vera stared at the distant planet. We watch and pray. Days passed across Earth. Strange things began to happen. Animals fled inland. Birds circled in the sky like they were waiting for something. People reported dreams, visions of machines rising from the ground, of glowing eyes watching from the stars. Leo couldn't sleep. Every night he saw the same thing in his mind, a giant figure standing on top of the world, silent. Waiting. Then, one morning, the sky changed. Clouds gathered fast. Lightning lit up the horizon. And from deep beneath the earth, a sound echoed. Low. Powerful. Like thunder trapped in stone. Elena stood on a hilltop, looking down at the research site. The ground cracked open. From below, metal rose. Not broken, not rusted. Polished. Perfect. And then, a voice rang out, not spoken. Felt. I am awake. Elena fell to her knees. Behind her, the world seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for what came next. The storm had passed, but the sky remained heavy with clouds. In the heart of the Pacific Ocean, where the sea was deepest and darkest, something stirred beneath the waves. Far below the surface, hidden inside a hollow mountain of rock and coral, a secret base flickered to life. Lights blinked on one by one. Machines hummed after centuries of silence. Inside, a small team of aliens stood in silence, watching their monitors. They were not alone anymore. Signal detected, said a tall, insect-like alien named Zarnok. His voice buzzed like static. It's coming from Earth. Beside him, a short, round creature with jelly-like skin and many eyes looked up nervously. What kind of signal? Zarnok tapped a few buttons. The screen showed energy readings spiking across the planet. It's them, he said. They found it. A third figure stepped forward. She was humanoid, but her skin shimmered like glass. Her name was Varel, and she had been watching Earth for longer than most of her kind remembered. They were not supposed to find it yet, she said softly. Zarnok turned to her. Do you think they woke it? Varel didn't answer right away. She stared at the glowing lines on the screen. No, she finally said. It woke itself. Silence filled the room. Then the jelly-skinned alien spoke again, voice shaking. We should leave. Zarnok glared at him. You've always been afraid of this mission. I'm not afraid, the other replied. I'm smart. Varel walked to a large window that looked out into the deep blue. Outside, the ruins of an ancient alien structure loomed in the dark. We have watched humanity for generations, she said. We saw them crawl from caves. We saw them build cities. We saw them fight and love and dream. She turned back to the others, and we saw them grow. Zarnok crossed his arms. Too fast. Yes, Varel agreed. Too fast. On Earth, Dr. Elena Reyes sat in a darkened lab, staring at her computer screen. She hadn't slept in days. Her assistant, Mark, walked in holding 2 cups of coffee. You look like death, he said, handing her one. Elena took a sip without looking at him. Thanks. Mark sat down beside her. Any idea what we woke up? Elena shook her head. Not really, but I know it's old. Older than anything we've ever seen. Mark frowned. Alien. Elena nodded. Definitely not human-made. It responded to us like it knew we were there. Mark leaned back in his chair. So, what now? Elena sighed. Now we try to understand it before someone tries to destroy it or use it, Mark added. She gave him a tired look. Yeah, that too. Outside, the world seemed to hold its breath. But underground, things were changing. Fast. Back in the deep-sea base, Zarnok paced the command center. We need to report this, he said. The Galactic Concord must know. Varel stood still, thinking, and what will they do when they hear? Zarnok looked at her. They'll decide what to do next. Varel shook her head. No, they'll decide what to do about Earth. Zarnak's antennae twitched. You think they'll attack? I think they'll fear what they cannot control, Varel said. And they've feared humans for a long time. The jelly-skinned alien whimpered. Maybe we should warn them. Zarnak shot him a glare. Are you insane? We're not allowed to make contact. But if the Concord decides to strike first, the small alien started, they won't. Varel cut in. Not yet. How do you know? Zarnok asked. Because they don't want to admit it, Varel said. They don't want to believe that Earth is no longer just a test subject. She looked at both of them. They feel what happens when a child becomes something more. Zarnok didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, we should leave. Now. Varel nodded yes. Our mission here is over. She turned to the controls and pressed a button. Base. Prepare for shutdown. The lights dimmed. Machines powered down. One by one. The systems went silent. As the last light blinked off, Zarnok whispered, they'll never let us come back. Varel looked out the window one last time. No, she said. They'll never let anyone come back. Above them, on the ocean's surface, a research ship floated quietly. Inside, Elena Reyes received a strange transmission. It wasn't from any known satellite. It wasn't from any government agency. It was just 5 words. You are being watched. Elena's hands froze on the keyboard. Behind her, Mark looked up. Did you get that? Alina nodded slowly. Someone knows what we found. Mark swallowed hard. Do you think it's friendly? Alina stared at the screen. I don't know, she said, but whoever sent this, they're gone now. Just then her phone buzzed. A news alert popped up. Strange lights seen across globe. Scientists baffled. Pictures showed glowing beams rising from different parts of the world in Siberia, in Egypt, on Antarctica, and in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Leo, sitting at home, stared at his screen. His sister came in. What now? He pointed. Look. She read the headline and gasped. They're everywhere. Leo looked out the window. Up at the stars. Something was happening. Something big. And Earth was no longer sleeping. The ground in Siberia was frozen, but deep beneath it, something pulsed with heat. Dr. Alina Reyes stood at the edge of a massive crater that had opened overnight. Smoke rose from its center, and strange symbols glowed faintly on the jagged rock walls. Her assistant, Mark, adjusted his coat against the cold wind. You sure we should be this close? Alina didn't answer right away. She stared into the dark hole like it might speak back. We don't have a choice, she finally said. Whatever is down there woke up. Mark looked nervous. And, if it doesn't like visitors, Alina gave him a small smile. Then we'll know soon enough. Behind them, a team of soldiers and scientists prepared to descend. Ropes were tied to metal stakes drilled into the ice. Lights blinked as cameras powered on. This wasn't just a scientific mission anymore. It was urgent inside the crater. The air grew warmer the deeper they went. At 200 meters below the surface, they found it. A metallic structure, smooth and black, buried under layers of ancient stone. It looked untouched by time. One of the engineers ran a scanner over the surface. It's not reacting to anything, he said, but it's emitting low-frequency waves. Like a heartbeat, Alina whispered. She stepped closer and placed her hand on the cold metal. Nothing happened. Then a flashed. A shockwave. Everyone fell back. The ground trembled from inside the structure. A sound like distant thunder rolled through the cavern. And then, words spoken without voice, felt without ears. I am awake, Alina gasped. Mark scrambled to his feet. What the hell was that? The others looked around, eyes wide with fear. I think, Alina said slowly, we just woke something up. Back on Aura Station, Vera watched the signal come through. Golden eyes widened. They did it, she said softly. Tulloch floated beside her, trembling. They woke the war god. Vera turned to High Counselor Rethan. We need to act now. Rethan stood still, staring at the screen showing Earth's energy readings spiking across the globe. No, he said quietly. It's too late for that. Tulloch squeaked. Too late. They've activated an ancient war machine. Rethan looked at him. No, it activated itself. Vera clenched her fists. You knew this would happen. Rethan met her gaze. I feared it. Outside the station, Earth glowed brighter than before, as if something deep within it had opened its eyes back on the surface. The team scrambled to gather data. Lights flickered along the alien structure. Lines of energy traced across its surface, like veins pumping life into a sleeping giant. Elena's hands flew over her tablet, trying to record everything. This isn't just a machine, she said. It's aware. Mark stared at her. Aware how it responded to us. She said it heard our presence. Before Mark could reply, the ground shook again. From deep within the crater, a beam of light shot upward, piercing the clouds across the world. People stopped what they were doing and looked up. In New York, Leo pointed at the sky. That's not lightning, he said. His sister stood beside him, mouth open. What is it? Leo didn't answer. He just watched. Something told him this was important. Hours later, more beams appeared in Egypt, in Antarctica, in the Pacific Ocean, each one rising from the same kind of hidden structures varied across the planet. Alina sat in the research lab, watching footage from all over the world. These aren't random, she muttered. They're connected. Mark leaned over her shoulder. Connected how? They form a pattern, she said, like a circuit. A circuit for what? Mark asked. Alina looked at him. Power. Just then, her phone buzzed on another message. The sleep is over. She read it aloud. Mark frowned. Who keeps sending these? Alina didn't answer, because she didn't know. But she was starting to believe someone or something had been waiting for this moment, waiting for Earth to wake up on the ocean floor, near the ancient alien base. The last of the machines. Powered down, Virel stood alone in the dark, looking out the window. Above her, the sea shimmered with light. She whispered, it has begun. Zarnak walked up behind her. We should leave now. Virel nodded. Yes, she turned to face him. But we won't be coming back. Zarnak's antennae twitched. Why not? Because Earth is no longer asleep, she said. And when it wakes fully, she paused, when it remembers who it truly is. She looked at Zarnak. The stars will tremble. That night, Alina couldn't sleep. She sat outside the lab, staring at the stars. Mark joined her. You think it's dangerous? He asked. Alina thought for a long time before answering. I think danger isn't the right word, she said. It's powerful, ancient, and it chose now to wake up. Mark looked at her. Why now? Alina smiled slightly. Maybe because we finally listened. Above them, the sky was clear, but far beyond the stars, something else was watching, something that had waited for a long time, and now, it was paying attention. The sky above Earth was no longer silent. Across the globe, beams of light shot up from deep within the planet, piercing clouds and vanishing into space. In every corner of the world, people stopped what they were doing and looked up in New York. Leo stood on his rooftop with wide eyes. "What is that?" he whispered. His sister didn't answer. She couldn't. No one could explain it. On a military base in Siberia, soldiers scrambled for answers. General Malik paced in front of a massive screen showing satellite footage of the glowing beams. "This isn't natural," he muttered. A scientist nearby adjusted her glasses. "It's not just energy. It's activation." "Activation of what?" Malik asked sharply. The scientist hesitated. "We don't know yet, but whatever it is, it's waking up." And she was right. Deep beneath the ice, the ancient machine pulsed with power. Lines of glowing symbols ran across its surface, like veins carrying life to something long forgotten. Then came the voice, not through speakers. Inside their heads, "I am awake." The lights flickered. Equipment buzzed and cracked. Everyone in the room dropped to their knees, clutching their heads in pain. Then silence and movement. Metal groaned as if stretching after millions of years of rest. The ground shook. From inside the frozen earth, something began to rise. Dr. Elena Reyes watched the live feed from Siberia with wide eyes. She sat in a darkened research lab, surrounded by blinking screens and nervous scientists. Mark leaned over her shoulder. "That's it, isn't it?" Elena nodded slowly. "Yes." He swallowed hard. "What exactly is it?" Before she could answer, the screen changed. A new signal. Words scrolled across in glowing letters. "Earth." Just one word, but it carried weight. As if the entire planet had been called by name. Then more words appeared. "The enemies are near. I will protect." Elena gasped. "It knows we're in danger." Mark frowned. "What enemies?" Elena didn't answer. She wasn't sure she wanted to. Far beyond Earth, on Aura Station. Vera stared at the same message. Her golden eyes narrowed. "They've woken the war god," she said softly. Tulloch floated beside her, trembling. "We have to warn the others." Vera turned to High Counselor Rethan. "You knew this would happen." Rethan stood still, watching the distant blue planet glow brighter than before. "I feared it," he admitted. Tulloch's voice shook. "They'll destroy themselves." "No," Rethan said quietly. "They'll destroy us." Vera stepped forward. "Then we should stop them." Rethan looked at her. Too late. Outside the station, the stars seemed to dim as if something far worse had begun to move. Back on Earth, the machine rose. Ice cracked. Stone shattered, and then light. Blinding. All-consuming. From the crater in Siberia, a figure emerged, tall, humanoid, covered in glowing armor that shimmered like starlight. Its face was hidden behind a mask of polished metal, but its presence was unmistakable. Power. Ancient. Unstoppable. It stepped forward with each footfall. The ground trembled above it. The sky opened. Clouds parted. Stars blinked. The war god looked up and spoke again. "Earth." This time, the word echoed across the world on every language, spoken without sound, felt without hearing. People fell to their knees. Soldiers dropped weapons. Leaders stared at screens in disbelief. And somewhere deep in the Pacific Ocean, the structure there responded. Light surged upward. Another voice joined the first. "I am here." One by one, the other machines around the planet answered, each one rising, each one awakening. Earth was no longer alone. It had remembered who it was, and now it was ready to fight. Leo stood outside, staring at the sky. The beam of light above him, who hadn't gone away. He felt something deep in his chest, like hope. Or fear. Or both. His sister came out beside him. "What do you think it means?" she asked. Leo didn't look at her. He just whispered, "We're not weak anymore." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He finally turned to her. "We weren't ready before. But now," he pointed at the sky. "Now we have someone fighting for us." At the research lab, Elena stared at the final message scrolling across the screen. "I am the Guardian. I am the Wrath. I am the God of War." Then the screen went black. Silence filled the room. Mark broke it. "So, what now?" Elena looked at him. "We find out who our enemies are." Mark swallowed. "And if we don't like the answer," Elena stood up, "then we better hope the God of War likes us." The stars were quiet, but not for long. Across the galaxy, alien ships picked up the signal. A single word echoed through deep space: Earth. It wasn't a message, it was a declaration, and it was heard by every species that had ever watched humanity. From afar. On Aura's station, Vera stared at the screen as reports poured in. Ships were moving, entire fleets toward Earth. She turned to Rethan. "They're coming." Rethan didn't move. His face was calm, but his eyes showed fear. "They should have stayed away," he said quietly. Tulloch floated beside them, trembling. "We have to stop this." Vera's voice was sharp. "How we already lost control." Outside the station, the stars shimmered. Something big was on its way, in orbit above Earth. The war god floated in silence. Its armor glowed with ancient symbols. It did not move, it did not speak, it only waited. Then the sky cracked open. Lights appeared. Dozens, no hundreds. Alien ships dropped from faster than light travel, forming a ring around the planet. Their hulls were sleek and dark. Weapons powered up. One ship moved forward, a massive dreadnought, From its bridge, a commander named Zeltar looked at Earth through cold glowing eyes. His voice was like stone. "This is the primitive world?" he asked. A second officer nodded. "Yes, Commander, the one we sealed away." Zeltar studied the blue planet below. "So small," he muttered. "So weak." He turned to his crew. "Send the message." A transmission was sent. It reached Earth within seconds. On screens across the globe, words appeared. "This world is not welcome in the galaxy. Surrendered immediately." In the Siberian military base, General Malik read the message. His hands tightened into fists. Behind him, Dr. Elena Reyes stood frozen. Mark whispered, "They don't even know what they just woke up." Malik turned to his soldiers. "Tell them." "No." Elena stepped forward. "Sir," he cut her off. "We do not bow to aliens." Elena didn't argue. She just looked up at the sky, at the war god, and she hoped it was listening above Earth. The alien fleet waited. Seconds passed, then minutes. No reply came. Zeltar frowned. "They ignore us." His officer checked the data. "They received the message, but they didn't respond." Zeltar narrowed his eyes. "Then they've chosen death." He raised a hand. "Open fire." From dozens of ships, weapons fired. Beams of energy streaked toward Earth. Cities would burn. Millions would die. But before the first shot could reach the atmosphere, a voice filled the air. Not spoken, felt. "You sealed my prison. Now you will see my wrath." The war god moved. In an instant, it vanished from orbit, reappeared above the lead dreadnought. One hand rose, glowing with power, then "A." Punch. Metal screamed. The ship shattered like glass. Hundreds of thousands of tons of alien tech exploded in a flash of white light. Silence followed. Then panic. Alarms blared across the alien fleet. "Unknown enemy," a voice shouted. Massive energy spike. Another ship exploded, then another. The war god moved faster than their senses could track. Each strike ended a ship. Each blast erased a threat. Zeltar stared in horror as his fleet broke apart. Fall back, he screamed. But it was too late. The war god hovered in front of the command ship, its masked face turned toward the viewscreen, and then it spoke directly into Zeltar's mind. "You thought we were nothing. Now you are." The last thing Zeltar saw was the glow of the war god's fist, then darkness. Back on Earth, Leo stood outside with his sister. The sky lit up with flashes far beyond the clouds. He whispered, "They're fighting." His sister held his hand. "Who's winning?" Leo didn't answer. He didn't need to, because somewhere above them, the war god fought. And Earth had never felt so strong. Dr. Elena Reyes watched footage from orbit in stunned silence. Mark sat beside her. "That just happened." Elena nodded slowly. "Yeah, it did." Her phone buzzed. A message appeared. "They tried to kill us. We showed them who we are." Mark read it over her shoulder. "Who keeps sending these?" Elena looked at him. "Maybe it's not someone." She tapped the screen. "Maybe it's something." Mark swallowed hard. "You think the war god is talking to us?" Elena didn't answer because she believed it was far beyond the solar system. Aura Station trembled. Vera watched the destruction unfold. Tulloch's voice shook. "They wiped out an entire armada in minutes." Rethan stood still. "We underestimated them," he said. Veyra turned to him. "Both of them." Rethon looked at her. "The humans," she continued, "and the war god." Rethon finally spoke. "They are no longer prey." Vera nodded. "No," she said softly. "Now they are hunters." Outside the station, the stars seemed dimmer, as if the universe itself had taken notice and feared what came next. The stars had seen many wars. They had watched empires rise and fall, civilizations burn and rebuild. But never before had they seen a species like this. Never before had Earth fought back. In the days after the battle above Earth, the galaxy was silent. No alien ships, no transmissions, no threats, only the drifting wreckage of what once was a mighty armada, now nothing more than broken metal floating in the dark on the surface of Earth. People began to understand what had just happened. They were not alone. Now, no one would ignore them again. In New York, Leo stood on his rooftop, staring at the sky. His sister came out beside him. "You still think we're just some little planet?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. She looked up at the stars, where battles had been fought without a single human firing a shot. "No," she finally said. "I don't." Leo smiled. "Good." He turned back to the night sky. Something deep inside him felt different, like he wasn't just watching history anymore. He was part of it. At a military base in Siberia, General Malik sat in a war room filled with maps, satellite feeds, and reports from around the world. Dr. Elena Reyes entered holding a tablet. "Sir," she said, "we've confirmed it. The war god is gone." Malik looked up. "Gone?" Elena nodded. "It left orbit. We tracked its energy signature heading into deep space." Malik frowned. "Why?" Elena hesitated. "Maybe it's not done yet." Before Malik could respond, an alarm blared. A technician shouted, "Incoming transmission." Everyone turned to the main screen. The image that appeared was not human, it was alien. A tall being with black eyes and pale skin stared at them. Its voice was calm, but there was, with fear behind it. "This is Commander Vector of the Alari Defense Fleet. We come under flag of truce." Silence filled the room. Then Malik stepped forward. "This is General Malik of Earth Forces," he said. "You have 5 minutes." Vector nodded. Your world has proven itself. We wish to speak not as enemies but as equals. Malik exchanged glances with Alina for the first time in history. Earth had been invited to the stars. Across the globe, things changed fast. Governments scrambled to organize a unified response. Scientists worked to understand the alien tech scattered across the planet, and everywhere, people began to dream bigger, not just of survival, of conquest, of power, of a place among the stars. But not everyone welcomed the change. In a secret underground facility beneath Antarctica, a group of high-ranking officials gathered. One of them, a man named Director Hask, stood at the head of the table. "We cannot let this continue," he said. A woman across from him leaned forward. "What do you mean we just won against an alien armada?" Hask shook his head. "We didn't win, we got lucky." He tapped a button on the table. A hologram appeared. It showed footage of the war. God in battle, destroying ships, erasing entire fleets. "Do you understand what we're dealing with?" Hask asked. "That thing doesn't care about us. It fights for something older, something we don't control." The woman frowned. "Then why did it protect us?" Hask's voice dropped. "Because it needed us." Double quotes. Silence. Then he spoke again. "And now, it might not need us anymore." Meanwhile, far beyond the edge of the solar system, the war god moved through space. It traveled faster than light. Guided by ancient instincts, it was searching for something or someone inside its core. Data streamed in from across the galaxy. Enemy signals, threats, new dangers. It had protected Earth. Now it would expand its reach to ensure no one ever threatened humanity again. Back on Earth, Alina sat alone in her lab reviewing old files. One caught her eye. A message from decades ago. "There are forces in the galaxy that fear what Earth could become." She read it again. Then another line. "If they ever feel threatened, they will return." Alina closed the file. She looked out the window. The stars seemed closer. Tonight, as if they were waiting for what came next. Somewhere in deep space. The war god stopped. It hovered in silence, then turned toward a new destination, toward a new enemy. And as it moved, a final message echoed across the void. "Earth rises." The war god had returned. It hovered above Earth like a silent guardian, its armor glowing faintly in the darkness of space. But it was not alone. Behind it, a second figure appeared, tall, armored, unknown. Its presence sent ripples through the atmosphere, as if the very air on Earth could feel the weight of something ancient and powerful. Back on the planet's surface, Leo stood on his rooftop once again. He stared up at the sky, heart pounding. "They're back," he whispered. His sister came outside, wrapping her coat tighter against the cold wind. "Who's back?" Leo didn't answer. He just pointed. She followed his gaze and froze high above them. Two figures floated silently, one familiar, one new. Something about the second one made her stomach twist. "It feels different," she said. Leo nodded slowly. "It is different." Out. A military base in Siberia. General Malik watched the same scene unfold on a massive screen. Dr. Alina Reyes stood beside him, eyes wide with concern. "This isn't good," she muttered. Malik crossed his arms. "Define not good." Alina tapped a few buttons. The screen zoomed in on the unknown figure. "Whoever or whatever that is," she said. "It's not from Earth." Malik frowned. "You think it's friendly?" Alina didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I don't know, but I don't think it's here to help." Before Malik could respond, an alarm blared. A technician shouted, "Incoming transmission." Everyone turned to the main screen. This time, the image was not human, or alien. It was something else entirely. The war god's voice echoed across the room. "They have returned." A pause, then the true enemies. Silence filled the war room. Malik looked at Alina. "What does that mean?" Alina shook her head. "I don't know, but we need answers. Far beyond Earth on Aura Station." Vera stared at the same message. Her golden eyes narrowed. "They've come back," she whispered beside her. Tulloch trembled. "The others." Vera turned to High Counselor Raython. "You knew this would happen." Raython didn't move. His face was calm, but his voice was heavy with fear. "We feared it," he admitted. Tulloch's voice cracked. "Then why didn't you warn us?" Raython looked at him. "Because we hoped they were gone forever." Outside the station, the stars seemed dimmer, as if even the galaxy itself was afraid. On Earth, governments scrambled to understand what was happening across the world. Strange things began to occur. In major cities, people reported dreams, visions of dark figures moving through the sky, watching from the edges of reality. Then remote areas, old ruins, long thought to be natural formations, began to glow. And in the Pacific Ocean, deep beneath the waves, something stirred. A signal pulsed from below the sea. Low, faint, but unmistakable. It was answered from far beyond the stars, at a secret underground facility beneath Antarctica. Director Hask sat in a darkened room surrounded by screens. One showed footage of the war god and its mysterious companion. Another displayed intercepted messages between alien species, all saying the same thing. "They are awake." Hask leaned forward. "Who are they?" he asked aloud. No one answered. Then a scientist nearby spoke quietly. "The others." Hask turned to him. "Explain." The scientist swallowed hard. They were here before the Galactic Concord, before any known civilization. He hesitated. They ruled the stars, until something destroyed them. Hask frowned. Destroyed them? The scientist nodded. Or buried them. He looked at Hask, and now he whispered, they're coming back. Meanwhile, the war god descended. It landed in the Siberian tundra, where humanity first woke it from slumber. Beside it, the other figure touched down. This one moved differently, slower, more deliberate. Its armor was darker, sharper. Its face was hidden behind a mask of black metal. Then it spoke, not with words, with thought. You have awakened us. Elena Reyes stepped forward cautiously. Us, the figure tilted its head. We were sealed away. Now we return. Malik tensed. Return for what? The figure looked at him to finish what was started. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. What does that mean? She asked. The war god responded. The war never ended. It only slept. Silence. Then the dark figure raised a hand. Symbols lit up across its armor. The ground trembled from beneath the ice. Something began to rise. Massive, metallic, ancient. Elena gasped. What is that? Malik took a step back. I don't think we want to find out. Back in New York, Leo stood on his rooftop, staring at the sky. The stars blinked strangely tonight, like they were watching, waiting. He turned to his sister. We woke something up. She looked at him. What do you mean? Leo didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, we thought the aliens were the biggest threat. He looked at her, but they weren't. She frowned. Then who was? Leo looked up at the sky. At the end of everything, he said softly, there were always two gods. He paused. One of war. He looked at her, and one of silence. Far beyond the edge of the solar system, the war god and the dark figures stood together. Their signals reached across the stars. Calling, awakening. Somewhere, something answered, and the universe held its breath because the final war was about to begin. The sky above Earth was no longer silent. Above the planet, two figures hovered, one glowing with ancient power, the other cloaked in shadow. The war god and its mysterious companion had awakened something far older than humanity could understand. And now, the universe trembled. In New York, Leo stood on his rooftop, staring at the sky. His sister came out beside him. They're still up there, she whispered. Leo nodded. Yeah, she looked at him. What do you think they want? Leo didn't answer right away. He watched the stars blink strangely tonight, like they were waiting for something. I don't think it's about what they want, he said finally. I think it's about what we've done. His sister frowned. What do you mean? Leo pointed upward. We woke them up. He turned to her. But we didn't ask them to come back. At a military base in Siberia, General Malik paced in front of a massive screen showing live footage from orbit. Dr. Elena Reyes stood nearby, eyes locked on the two figures watching Earth. We need to know what they're planning, she said. Malik stopped pacing. You think they'll tell us? Elena shook her head. No, but maybe someone else will. Before Malik could reply, an alarm blared. A technician shouted, incoming signal. Everyone turned to the main screen. This time, the image was not alien, that was human. Colonel Rourke appeared on the screen, his face serious. This is a global broadcast, he said. The war god has returned. But it did not return alone. Silence filled the room as the message continued. We have made contact with forces beyond our understanding. Some are allies, some are not. Rourke's voice grew colder. Now, Earth must make a choice. Elena's heart pounded. What choice? Rourke looked directly into the camera. The war god offers protection, strength, victory. He paused. But it also offers war. Then came the final line. Do we stand with it, or against it? Far beyond Earth, the war god and the dark figure floated in silence. Their presence stretched across the stars, across time, across memory. Then the war god spoke. You have chosen. The dark figure responded. They do not understand. The war god looked at it. They never did. Then both turned toward Earth. As if waiting, watching, waiting for the final decision. Back on the surface, Elena sat alone in her lab, reviewing old files. One caught her eye, a message from decades ago. There are two paths ahead. One leads to peace, the other to war. She read it again. Then another line. Only one can be walked. Elena closed the file. She looked out the window. The stars seemed closer, tonight, as if they were waiting for what came next. Underground, deep beneath Antarctica, Director Hask stared at a massive screen displaying classified data. Beside him, a scientist adjusted a monitor. What do you want to do? The scientist asked. Hask didn't look away from the screen. We need to know what they truly want. The scientist swallowed. And if it's not what we expect? Hask finally turned to him. Then we make sure they never get it. On Oris Station, Vera stood alone in the observation deck. She watched Earth grow brighter with each passing day. Behind her, Rethon approached. You see it too, he said. Vera nodded. They're changing. Rethon looked at the distant planet. So are we. Vera turned to him. Will you let them join us? Rethon was silent for a long moment. Then he said, not all of us welcome them. Vera's eyes narrowed. They fear it. Rethon nodded. They fear what happens when a child becomes a god. Outside the station, the stars seemed dimmer, as if the galaxy itself was watching, waiting to see which way the balance would tip. That night, Leo lay awake in bed. He stared at the ceiling. Then came the sound, low, faint like thunder in the distance. He sat up, went to the window, looked up at the sky, and saw it. A light, fast, moving toward Earth. The war god was returning, and this time it was not alone. Back at the Siberian base, Alina stood beside General Malik. The war god landed just outside. Its masked face turned toward them. Then came the voice. Your world stands at the edge. Malik stepped forward. Of what the war god raised a hand. Symbols glowed across its armor. Then came the final message, the end of one age, the beginning of another. Alina felt a chill run down her spine. She looked at Malik. What does that mean? Malik didn't answer because he already knew. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was part of something bigger, something older, and now the final choice had to be made. Would humanity follow the war god into the stars, or would it try to stop it? In the skies above Earth, the war god and its companions stood together. Their signals reached across the stars. Calling, awakening somewhere. Something answered, and the universe held its breath because the final war was about to begin. But this time, humanity would not be the ones who started it. It would be the ones who ended it. End of story.